You're listening to The Bird Bath. Welcome back to The Bird Bath. Each week we scrape the surface of the news you need to know, so let's get into it. This last week was a little quieter on the news front with Thanksgiving here in the US, but there was still some interesting and fun news across the board. Our first story might hit a little too close to home for those of us that enjoyed maybe a couple too many slices of pie at Thanksgiving. A giant dog-shaped balloon has turned up in downtown Chicago last week with the goal of intending to raise awareness about dog obesity. The dog named Waylon, who is actually my dog brother-in-law, is that what you call your family dog sibling thing? Dog brother-in-law, let's go with it. Waylon, well, he was so big that he was stuck between the Virgin Hotel and the Hotel Monaco in downtown Chicago. You got to look up a picture of it. It's really cute and pretty funny. And it's actually a campaign by IAMS Pet Food. So they launched the dog up into the air and stuck him between the two buildings as a way to point out that more than 59% of American dogs are overweight. They also showed that there was a 108% increase in vets diagnosing overweight pets over the past 10 years. The goal for Waylon and IAMS as a business is to help bring people to their Healthy Weight Dog Hub, which I'm actually linking here in the show notes. There's a QR code, so if you're in Chicago, you can go down there and scan Waylon's big old body and check out what's going on. It'll help you understand a little bit more about how to bring your animals and your dogs to a healthier and more active lifestyle. Just last month at the London Vet Show, an incredible panel of speakers came together to talk about the need for veterinarians to be discussing diets with their clients. Dr. Sally Everett said in the panel, "We have the opportunity to become trusted advisors to our clients, but to do that, we need to inform ourselves and contribute to the evidence base." There's a large influx of different foods, and in the study and in the report that they were discussing, there were doctors from all over the UK and all over Europe, and Dr. Georgia Wood-Lees, who's the clinical lead of Royal Canin's Weight Management Clinic at the University of Liverpool School of Veterinary Science, which is a super long title, urged professionals to avoid judgment based on clients' individual choices. The thing that they said was with the increase of number of different types of foods that are on the market, as well as a prevalence of people to have alternative diets, whether it's raw or vegan for themselves, they're seeing an increase of complexity or of concern or misinformation that might be coming to a lot of pet owners. So the panel really urged people, much as what IAMS is talking about there, to become trusted advisors and a way for their pet parents that sit down with them and the different owners that sit down with their patients in their clinics to be able to turn to their vets as a trusted resource. So check out Waylon and also check out some of the great reporting and news that's coming out of London. It's an early Christmas for dogs, cats, and rabbits that were previously being sold in retail pet stores. Starting December 15th, the sale of dogs, cats, and rabbits will be illegal in New York as part of the new law aimed at eliminating the abusive practice of large-scale breeding operations that a lot of us know as puppy mills. Retailers in New York found to violate the ban could face penalties of $1,000 per violation. And what it does is it outlaws it and it prohibits pet sales in retail stores. There's a very, very important piece here, though, is that New Yorkers can still adopt animals from humane societies, animal shelters, and licensed brokers. And under the law, retail pet stores can collaborate with those different nonprofit animal rescue organizations to showcase adoptable animals. The stores are able to charge some fees for rescuing and using their space, but they're prohibited from making a profit off of the pet sales. Now, this isn't just a bill that's going into effect. It's actually something that's really being heavily taken to task, right? The Office of the Attorney General in New York has empowered law enforcement to be able to start imposing these fines. Earlier this year, the Office of the Attorney General brought in $300,000 from a Long Island-based pet store called Shake-a-Paw for selling sick puppies and misleading consumers about their health and breed. So awesome news. I think it's something that doesn't change and happen overnight. And I think it's important as well, if you're in the New York area or any of the surrounding states, to understand that these dogs and cats and rabbits still are out there and they still exist, and they need to go through a cycle of being adopted and taken care of. We should expect, unfortunately, to see more dumping operations of these animals as the retail market is no longer available to them. So please be vigilant out there and make sure that you reach out to your local humane societies and shelters to make sure that they have all of the resources that they need as well. Finally, a little more trouble across the pond. The University of Cambridge Veterinary School has been accused of overlooking racism and student welfare. The course had its professional accreditation downgraded following an investigation by the Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons, the RCVS, which is utilized overseas to help with the accreditation process. In their report, the RCVS found that the course failed to meet 50 out of 77 accreditation standards. Now, they do have time to turn this around. They have until September 2025 to improve their accreditation standards to be able to have their full accreditation reinstated. And I wanted to look through this report, and it's fully available, and I'll link it in the show notes, but it was pretty interesting to see what was going on. Now, there's the very clear difficulties around racism and student welfare and things like that. There was the term man up as the response to students' complaints or dissatisfaction with the way the course was going. But what I also found really interesting when going through this were all of the different categories that fell under not met. There were things like safety in the equine facility, where there was not utilization of hard hats or additional safety measures to make sure that the students were in a safe and secure environment. There was poor monitoring of equipment and medications around different facilities. There was also something that I, as a technology geek, really found interesting, was that the access to records and the clear keeping of records was something that they were flagged for. In the report, the RCVS said that the paper records were an insufficient way for students to be able to learn from and access records as they did. And they highlighted that Cambridge is going to be switching to utilizing ProVet, which is a digital PIMS. So I enjoyed reading through all of those different 77 accreditation standards to understand exactly what these colleges are looking for. I mean, there was discussion around lack of future planning or securing the financials of the school or of the college. There was a lot of conversation around poor opportunities for feedback loop from the veterinary school to the entire university. Lots of other things in there that were definitely interesting to look at, and probably a good learning experience for all of the new colleges that we have launching here in the States. So check out the report. Best of luck to the University of Cambridge. I never want to see anything bad happening to any of the schools, and especially all the students that are in their studies there. So best of luck as they turn that ship around, and I'm rooting for them to be able to right this ship and be able to find a way to receive their full accreditation by that September 2025 date. If you're looking for something interesting to listen to, or if you're at all interested in the mid-level practitioner or the veterinary professional associate degree and the Proposition 129 that was voted in Colorado last month, be sure to join us on Tuesday, December 3rd. That's today, the day the episode's releasing, at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We have a star-studded group of people that are going to be talking about what this new role means, not just in Colorado, but what it could mean across the entire industry. If you're listening to this after Tuesday, still go check out thebirdbath.io. You can find all the information to go back and listen to this panel, and would love to hear what people think of it. We've got the chief veterinary officer at the AVMA. We've got the head of the curriculum that put together the Masters of Veterinary Clinical Care program at Colorado State. We have the immediate past president of NAVTA, as well as a legislative committee member for the CVPA. And we also have the CEO of VMG and the chief veterinary officer of Covetrus. So lots of really, really wonderful people to be able to bring this conversation together. I know it's a hot button issue, but it's one that I hope to be able to bring a fair and balanced approach to as we talk through it. So be sure to join us there today, Tuesday, December 3rd, or if you're listening to this in the future, be sure to go back and listen to the wonderful webinar. We've got it hosted on YouTube as well. And for more on these and other stories, join us by subscribing to our Substack. There's a link in the bio. And don't miss out on any episodes by subscribing and rating the show. For the Bird Bath, I'm Ryan Leach. See you next week.